and say hello everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter and Twitch, as we try to avoid the crowds and concentrate on the scenery. Now you can see that is Castle Lane. Let's go and find the castle. Okay, so town square is commercial, businesses and banks, lots of banks. I'm just outside the bank now. I'm going to walk down the street. Okay, in the distance you can see the town hall, and we'll get closer to the town hall so you can see a bit more of it along this walk. Again, welcome to this live video being shot on mobile and using Switchboard.live, broadcast out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch and of course my websites. Now if I actually meet anybody I know, I may stop, but the odds are against that. Now today it's 25 degrees, it's just after 11 or possibly about 11 in the morning, and I'm just going to go around, and this is Devizes Castle, and very impressive it is. Unfortunately, as you can see, it does say private no entry, but you can see the portcullis, you can see the turrets, and it is just really a magnificent building. Now the reason we can't go in is that this is private land and the castle has been converted into private apartments, which you can buy. In fact, the whole castle was for sale for £2.5 million a couple of years ago. But there's a history behind this. The original castle, made of wood, was built in the year 1080 by the Bishop of Salisbury. Now the Bishop of Salisbury put the castle here, castrum ad Devizes, Devizes in Latin, castle at the crossroads, because he was looking after three different parishes. He was looking after Roud and two other parishes, and this castle was to be his place for having control of the area. In 1123 the castle burnt down and it was rebuilt, and it's been the home of royalty. King Stephen, yes, there was a King Stephen, and Queen Matilda actually battled over the castle, and the castle was also took part in the English Civil War, Roundheads versus Cavaliers. But the castle you see before you is not the original castle. It's not a 1080 castle because that burnt down. It's not 1123 castle because that's still there. It's underneath everything that you can see now. But this castle was one man's fancy, and it was built in the 1700s by a private landowner who bought the property, and he built a castle of his dreams, and it's that castle of the dreams which is with us now. But as I say, it is private. We cannot go inside. If you search for Devizes Castle on the web, you will see that when it went up for sale, the rooms were actually photographed, and you can see those on the internet. Just type in Devizes Castle, it'll come up with an estate agent, and that estate agent took photographs of the castle. But the castle was the centre of Devizes, and it's from that castle that the town grew outwards. And if you look at a town map of Devizes, you will see that the streets arc around the front of the castle. So I'll post a map afterwards so you can actually see what it actually looks like. So that's the castle, and these are local commercial buildings. Okay, so we've seen one part of the castle. It's not the last bit you'll see of the castle, just bear with me. Okay, shame that we can't go in, and I suppose I'd love to go and just have a look around just the once. We have open days in Devizes when people do open their properties. This is a venerable shop, the Emporium, the Keg collection. I bought many a gift from there, and a long-running establishment. I'm going to go to the right of the scaffolding and continue my journey. Okay, so we have estate agents, we have Indonesian restaurants, we have Indian restaurants, we have Chinese restaurants, you name the cuisine, Devizes has got it. We've got probably more pubs and restaurants per head than many towns. Now, one of the things about the castle we've just visited, when Queen Matilda was in residence, she granted a market charter to Devizes, which meant that they could hold weekly markets, farmers' markets. And that charter is still in existence, it's never been appealed or repealed. So this is a charter town and is capable and does hold regular markets. This is the town hall, and because there's no traffic around here, we'll just take a step closer and read the plaque, possibly. Heritage plaque. Town Hall was created by Thomas Baldwin in 1806, so it is 195 years old. This is the main entrance, and it's not, well, because we are where we are, the entrance has been moved to over here. We can see the open door. You've got the town notice board, which gives out information for residents. Devizes population is around about 23,000. And as we come around the corner, you'll see the Lamb Inn, which is one of the oldest pubs in Devizes. I don't think it's reopened its doors yet, but we've slipped past somewhere. And there's a plaque here, which is for the Old Town Lockup. In other words, this is the town jail. And the local police on a Friday night, if somebody was too drunk, would try and get them home, but if they couldn't get them home, they were brought to the lockup and kept overnight until they indeed sobered up. Okay, so lockup, been in there, and they let me out again, and get out again. Okay, and then St John's Court we'll go to in a moment. It's wonderful to actually just walk down the different alleyways. And it says no public right of way. So you've got the idea that there's quite a lot of private property. And I cannot go beyond these bounds. But this is still in the castle grounds. And these are private houses and a parking area. And I move out of the way. So, and the way that this has been preserved is, well, my way of thinking is absolutely brilliant. Now, if you are watching me live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, or the website, I cannot see, I cannot see your comments. Okay? Now, this is St John's Court, and I just love this court. I've taken many a photograph from the other side looking down into the town centre. And St John's Court, and again, you lose count of the blue plaques. And this is number 4 St John's Court, which was a medieval hall. So that's where the local barons would actually meet. Okay, all these are private houses, all preserved. And ahead of us is the church. And let's take a walk up to the church. Church has a graveyard. This is a panoramic. So this is a public private square with the church in the centre of it. This is one of the first churches to be built in Devizes. And if we walk up to the door, we may see some notices, although I think at the moment, because of the situation we're actually in, the church itself is closed, but we can look out from the church at St John's Court and the buildings that surround it. So I'll come back down. And if you're thinking to yourself, that's a wonderful place to live, I can confirm that this is a place to live. I mean, I started off in Burnley in Lancashire and then spent 12 years in Stratford upon Avon, And the last 9 years, 3 months, I've been in Devizes, and it is the most beautiful place. Every corner that you turn, there's something new there to actually greet you. And the one thing that Devizes does have is a lot of pathways, so you can quickly walk from one part of the town to another. And this is an historic visit in many ways. This is old Devizes. There are many new estates, but the heart of Devizes is the town centre and the streets that surround it. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to try and not catch the gentleman who's actually there. So I'll put the camera over here and we'll head on the left hand side and go this way. Morning. I'm just broadcasting out to Facebook, so showing them the beauty of the town.
What's that, a railway?
This is, well, timing's good. This is the line of the railway, and the railway actually went underneath the castle.
Through that arch?
Through that arch. And it came up here. Okay, so the railway line runs through to East Devizes, came all the way along here, and in 1967 Dr. Beeching,
yes,
in his review, decided that this line wasn't necessary.
What a shame.
Which is, looking back, I mean, you couldn't relay the line because there are houses built for the next mile or so, but you can imagine the train actually coming along here, steam train, in the 60s. And the brilliant thing is that it went, you can see there, it went underneath the castle.
Yes.
And that has been boarded up now, and basically there's an archery group which uses the tunnel for their practice. So there are activities still going on in the tunnel. You can actually access the tunnel from the other side. If you walk down past the Bear Inn,
yes,
down Station Road,
yes,
then that will bring you to the tunnel at the other side. And that's where the station was, down Station Road.
Devizes,
I mean, it was Devizes Station, yeah, it is real.
Was it single track?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
And a marvel of engineering, really. I mean, it was built after the canal. It took traffic away from the canal.
Yes.
And Devizes was one stop along the line.
How wonderful.
And they're taking it up now. Hopefully, there is going to be a new station in Devizes, close to Devizes. It'll be about 3 miles away. And I think it's going through the planning stage at the moment, and it will be a halt stop. In other words, it's just a platform,
yes,
and you will be able to catch the train from Devizes up to London or down to Bristol, and it will become part of the Great Western Railway line.
Well, that'd be good.
So that's basically what everybody's looking forward to. Sort of 2025 is the target for that,
yes,
and the local councils behind it. There are special interest groups. Wiltshire County Council are behind it, so it's got everybody who should be shouting for it. But I mean, the castle itself, I've just been around the corner at the castle, and it's just a magnificent building. And I was saying that the original castle was built in 1080
yes, by
by the Bishop of Salisbury, and he had to look after Devizes and 3 of the parishes around here. So it was a castrum ad Devizes, so the castle at Crossroads, and that became shortened to Devizes, the name of the town. The town grew out from the castle in arches. If you look at the road layout, it's semicircular for quite a way.
Like growth rings on a tree.
That's right.
Yes.
That's exactly the way that it
Yes,
actually came about. And so that was in 1080. 1123, the original castle burned down, so they built a new one. And that was where King Stephen, my namesake, and Queen Matilda fought. And it also was held during the war of, Civil War.
Yes.
But the land around it was bought in the 1700s by a local businessman, and the castle that we're looking at now is his folly. This was built in the 1700s.
Oh, so it's not Norman.
No, this was his idea of what a castle should look like, and he built in the 1700s, and since then it has actually been totally private. And in recent years, the castle itself was on sale for £2.5 million, and it was bought, and it now exists. It now has apartments. And if you wish, you can live in the castle next time an apartment comes for sale by buying it, and you can be an Englishman in his castle. And if you Google Devizes Castle, you'll find photographs of the inside taken by Savills, and it gives you an idea. Charter for the market, which is why the market takes place in Devizes every week, because there's a charter for it. It's a charter town. The original market was in front of the church behind us, but it moved. It was just near the cenotaph. It moved from there into the town centre, and that's where it is held as a market every Thursday. There's a farmers market once a month,
Yes.
and it all comes from the castle.
Queen Matilda.
Yeah, Queen Matilda.
Goodness.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
50 or something like that.
Yep. Yeah.
How
An amazing
interesting.
story.
So is there any Norman castle left?
Not. I don't know. I'd have to check.
It's more 18th
Yeah.
century.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely. Well, sorry. English Heritage did do a time team thing on it,
Yes.
and they dug down and found the remains of the original second 1123 castle. So they know it's there, but it's covered over.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, fascinating.
Nice to meet you.
Fascinating. Very nice to meet you. Thank
Okay.
you for all this interesting information.
You're most welcome.
Thank
Okay, take care. Right, so we're going to carry on up this way. That was a fortuitous meeting. And just take a walk through here and we're on our way. Obviously you can't see everything in one visit, so we may come back here and actually visit the parts that I've missed. Wow, what a delightful conversation. Yes. Now some of these graves are tended on the right hand side, some on the left are not. And as I said on the video the other day, we now have decided that things growing wild is a good thing. Right, so we're now at the main entrance to the church again. Let's just check. So we can't actually, it would be good one day to actually go inside the church and give you an idea of the church, but it always amazes me that a small town such as Devizes could build not one, not two, but 4 churches in different areas of the town. And not only is it used for services and weddings, etc., it's also used for theatrical performances as well. Okay. Coming back to the main road, and we can in a moment see the other side of the town hall. So it's St John the Baptist Church, and as I said, services on Sundays 8, 10:30 and 6:30 in the evening. But it's the architecture of the town, which is 1800s, and each building has its own individual character. Now, Devizes, 16th, 17th century, was a farming area. And the corn exchange in town is where everybody brought the corn to sell it when the crops had been gathered in. So that's a piece of history that we'll look at another day. But this is one of the town's gems. And it's called the Ark. Now it's private property, so I can't go in the Ark. Landed gentry in Devizes decided that this was an area of historical importance, and they would gather together all the historical artifacts. And the Ark is where they're kept. It's a great big warehouse full of everything Devizes and Wiltshire related. But this is the Wiltshire Museum. And the Wiltshire Museum was founded in 1853 and opened in 1874. It houses the largest collection of items found at Stonehenge. And the museum and shop are open. And the museum, you can become a friend of the museum. It's the home of the Wiltshire Archaeological and Natural History, and the opening times are 10 till 5, Tuesday through Saturday. It's worth a visit. They have a spectacular Stonehenge exhibition inside the museum. They have the history of Devizes and of Wiltshire. Marvellous collection from school days through to old ways of actually manufacturing. And they have, from Stonehenge, gold. Gold has actually been recovered from the burial areas around Stonehenge, and the gold is actually, you can see it. It's big enough to see. It is actually a sheet of gold. Well, I say sheet, it's about 3 inches by 2 inches. So Wiltshire Museum is well worth a visit, and hopefully I will try and get permission to film in there so we can actually look inside. So many places to actually visit. Okay, so this is the main road through the town centre. We started off in the town centre, and we're now walking to the outskirts, and again the grand houses that were built in the 1800s, private residences. And the wide, right, okay. One thing you will notice about Devizes, as opposed to other small towns, is the wide roads. And you think, why are the roads so wide? And why are the houses not closer together? This was a rich area, a farming area. The other thing is that Devizes was on the coaching route from London through to Cornwall. So if you've got a coach to take you down to Cornwall, that's a coach and 4 with horses, not a coach, a motorised coach, then you would actually travel along the road from London and down this street, and you stay at the Bear Inn, which we saw at the beginning. So that's why the roads, the main roads, are so wide, so that, and this is my guess, it's not necessarily 100% historically accurate, but so coaches could pass each other. Had to be wide enough for people to walk and coaches to pass each other. Okay, we're into the final leg of our journey, and whilst I can, I'm going to cross over into the shade. As I said earlier, it is about 25 degrees today. But we're coming towards the end of the walk. We've been near the High Street. We've looked at the main entrance to Devizes Castle. We stopped over a railway bridge and had a wonderful conversation with a gentleman about the history of Devizes Castle. And now another piece of Devizes history. not related to castles, but certainly part of the town. The town is proud of its traditions and proud of its heritage, and that's why everything is so well kept. And you'll see in a moment, well, I'll not tell you, I'll show you. Okay, so again, we're going to try and avoid people. I'm going to go left in a moment. These are private houses with large drives. And back. Thing is that you can walk around Devizes and the streets are reasonably clear and empty, and there's so many different things to see. Okay, now these must have been, take a look at these must originally have been workers' cottages, because in addition to the farming, Devizes was an industrial town, and it still has industry, but it also has a brewery, which I think every town should have. It's larger than a microbrewery. Wadworth, you've possibly heard of some of the beers, 6X being one of them, are based in Devizes, and they own quite a lot of the public houses around Devizes. Right, so we come in a semicircle because the bridge that we're on a moment ago is down there. Okay, but now, and I hope we're still broadcasting. Again, I can't see your comments, but I will get to your comments afterwards. This video in full will appear. Right, okay. The history of Hillworth Park. Now, I'm not going to read it all to you, but I will give a link to everything in the comments later. One of the things that the town is proud of is its gardening department, who are based here. This is Hillworth Park, and it's always been a green space for the citizens of Devizes. And we're going to hang right in a moment. And this truly is, well, I'll let you decide. Let's just walk around the perimeter and you'll see that Devizes is, well, everything's coming into bloom now. Parks Department in Devizes are to be congratulated on the quality of their displays throughout the town, and this is really the centrepiece. Youngsters at school today, as soon as they get out of school, they will come here and they will play football and basketball, and they'll swing on this wire if they can reach the tyre, of course. I think it's been put up out of the way at the moment. Town and the county encourage people to keep fit by walking, and there's a mini exercise area. There's a climbing wall over there, which I'm not going to attempt, certainly not carrying a mobile phone. But we're going to go up. I'd love to have a go on that, wouldn't you? Yeah, you get a breeze going because it's pretty hot today. You can tell the age of the park from the age of the trees, and the trees are pretty tall. And then you have a mini exercise area. Now, during the current situation, some of the equipment has been moved away for safety, but this is, believe me, an area where people do come to exercise. It's a mini gym, outdoor mini gym, and it is well used. As we go for probably the first time in half an hour into the shade of the trees, 4 trees. So There's the old entrance to the park, which has been closed, and then over here, just give you a view of the park as a whole. Okay, over here again, we're in Hillworth Park, Devizes, Hillworth, and these are the tennis courts. Again, when the children aren't at school, they are in use, and at weekends as well, by the parents. There's a dedicated play area, safe play area for children. I just love the spongy coating that's on the floor, so if one of the youngsters should fall, they don't bash up their knee. Okay, there is a small cafe, and over by the cafe is where I'm headed. Then I'm going to come back. We're coming towards the end of this live broadcast from Devizes in England, and just one area I want to look at. This is an easy walking distance for most people in Devizes, but people also drive here as well. And right, this is the aviary, and we've met the keeper on several occasions. But in this aviary you have Java sparrows, cockatiels, Andalusian chickens, kakari, a silky chicken, Chinese painted quail, zebra finches, lovebirds and budgies. Now you probably can't get a good idea through the wires, but they are extremely well looked after, and of course it's for children to come and visit. Okay, the final leg, and we're going to go keep on the paths, of course. Now this is the home of the Devizes crew, who maintain all the beautiful displays throughout the town. Hats off to them. Here's the cafe, which is reopened. I'm just going to take you around. You've probably seen the next part on some of my photographs in backdrops, and I'm just going to put the camera on the right hand side and go over here. And this is the reflection pool, and you could just stand here and reflect, or you could sit down and just look at the water and the beautiful flowers. This is the most beautiful spot in Devizes. Okay, so go through here, and I am trying to avoid people. I need to call that bird on camera. You can see that the garden is very well kept, well manicured, and it's just a beautiful place to actually come and walk. So I've been on my mobile camera using my Hohem gimbal and broadcasting via Switchboard live to YouTube, Twitter, Twitch and my websites. Thank you very much for watching. Close, if I press that button. Thank you very much for watching, take care, and I'll see you all again soon.